Welcome to the Spotlight by CG Ruthless, man. Let's welcome my special guest from California University, bro, Cal Berkeley, and Fresno native, Central High School standout, Ricky Correia, bro. How's it going, man? We got a loco in the house.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 559, baby. Gotta live it up, man. Central Valley got a lot of dudes coming out of here, so I'm proud to represent.
Oh, yeah, bro. For those people who are not familiar with you, man, tell me about yourself.
Man, I'll start off with, off the field stuff. Real laid back kind of guy, really just like to play the game, of course, watch TV, like to get outside when I can, go fishing, go hiking and stuff like that. So really just like to, get into all the chill stuff and just live life, man. So that's a little bit about me. And then on the field, man, just being a dog and, just trying to dominate everything in front of me. So, just knowing when to flip that switch from being chill and laid back to taking over and being a dog and being dominant is an important thing. So it's a little bit about me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. But what got you into football in the early part, man?
Really, coming from a sports-oriented family, my older brother played football, my sister played basketball, so I'm the youngest. I've been to all their games, and really just, being around football kind of it was a no-brainer that I wanted to play football. I started off playing tackle football at around 5 years old, and never looked back since then, so really just getting into it with my brother, watching the games with my dad, and just being around the sport of football, man, just made me fall in love.
Oh, yeah, you got to have your family with the influence, man. So once you get into football, man, it's just an addiction. You just got to stick with it. You know what I mean?
Most definitely.
Oh, yeah, man. So what was it like growing up in Fresno for you, man?
Growing up here, small town kind of gets overlooked when it comes to, anything and everything. People kind of think it's the middle of nowhere, but growing up here, man, it was definitely a learning experience. There's a lot of talented guys out here that play this sport, and learning from the guys that made it to the highest of levels and didn't really pan out because of their actions off the field and stuff like that. It was, I would say, growing up here was a learning experience, especially in the football realm, because like I said, there's a lot of talent here, and it's been that way for years. So just learning from everyone and playing sports and meeting all the different coaches and all the stuff, all the football minds has really just been, a way for me to elevate my game and, grow as a young man. So, yeah, growing up in Fresno, I feel like it's the perfect place if you really want to focus in on, being a great football player, great in any sport, man, because, there's so many different sports minds out here that have, like a lot of knowledge, man. So yeah, it's been definitely a good experience.
Oh, yeah, dude. You had coming to Fresno, you got to have a blue chip on the shoulder, bro. You got to come and prove something. But so what position did you started playing when you first started playing football?
Yeah, growing up, man, I didn't play D-line at all. I was watching a lot of Reggie Bush. My brother played DB and receiver, so I tried to follow that route. I was playing started off playing running back and yeah, I was playing running back up until about 8th grade. Kind of like me and Kendall Milne, we were the best guys around for our age group. And man, once puberty hit and stuff like that, just kept getting bigger and bigger. So I figured if I was gonna take the football route, it was time for me to get my hand in the dirt and play some O-line and D-line. So yeah, but running back was my main position growing up for sure.
Yeah, as you get bigger, you kind of become a bigger position. You went from O-line also, so you do have a better understanding on how offensive line moves. So you got a little bit of a knowledge when it comes to facing offensive linemen, right?
Yeah, definitely, man. I played a couple years O-line in high school, and just really when you play it, you kind of understand the terminology and all the words that they use to kind of know what they're doing. And then as I got onto college and playing D1 and stuff, I always want to learn from the O linemen what they see about me, what my weaknesses are, and what I could do, to see the game through their lens as well, because that just makes me a better D lineman. So I try to soak up as much game as I can.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, bro. Like, I feel like the sky's the limit when it comes down to it. But what was your favorite team growing up, man? Like, what team did you grow up watching?
So my pops, he was a Dolphins fan, but I watched a lot of Reggie Bush. So I love the Saints, man. Drew Brees, Reggie Bush, all those guys, watching them. When they won the ship against Indy, man. That kind of made me fall in love with watching football. So I grew up watching a lot of Saints. I don't watch them too much no more because not that good anymore. But yeah, I was definitely a Saints fan growing up.
I mean, growing up as a kid, you probably have a little bit of a team, but then you eventually just go a different direction and say, you know what, whatever team gets me, I'm just going to be happy. But, hey, being a Dolphins fan isn't the end of the world, man. At least they have the best uniforms by the looks of it,
Yeah, definitely. Most def, yeah. So I can't complain about that one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. Who do you model your game after?
I would say I definitely model my game after Kenny Clark, man. I feel like he's a big, athletic defensive lineman, man. He's really strong at the point of attack. He does some really good things, and he's also, a smart player. He knows a lot of things. He could play anywhere from the 0 to 3 tech. So I really just try to be a mini him, man. Be versatile in the trenches, be able to line up anywhere and just cause havoc and play my game. So I really watch a lot of his film and see the kind of things he does, and yeah, that's what I model my game after.
Oh, that's a good one to model your game after. So I guess as far as like the 225 bench, I didn't see what you did on your pro day or whatever. How much can you do on the max?
I got 13 on my pro day. I'm battling some wrist injuries and stuff, so yeah, it was a long road for 225 benching and all that stuff. I had a cast on my hand for 2 years in college, so I really wasn't able to lift that much. So yeah, it was definitely an experience.
I mean, 32 reps, that's pretty strong for a D tackle, no matter how you look at it. I mean, you're like tough to block at the end of the day. You take double teams and all that stuff. So
yeah,
hey man, for a guy like you, what kind of scheme did you guys play at California that could translate the next level?
We definitely so our main defense was a 2-4-5. A lot of defenses in the NFL run that, and then we mixed it up a little bit. We had a versatile defense to where we had 2-4-5 looks, we had 3-4 looks, we also had some 5-man front looks. So we had a lot of looks in our defense, and I have a lot of experience in different fronts and playing different different techniques over the years. So I feel like all of our defensive schemes and calls will translate pretty well over to the league.
Oh yeah, okay. I mean, that can translate the next level for a deep tackle. I'm pretty sure you can play the 4-3 or the 3-4. It won't matter because you're mostly going to take the double teams if anything else or stop the run.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, that's our main job, and rushing the passer and stuff. So yeah, they have a lot of different packages for stuff in the league. So they find ways for their guys to fit in their scheme and be the best player that they can be. So I'm excited to see what I could do, man.
Oh, absolutely, man. So what NFL teams have you met with?
I have some interest from the Falcons, the Panthers, the Seahawks. Just got done yesterday with the Niners local day, and yeah, that's pretty much. And also the Colts. They've been talking to me a little bit, but nothing too big right now. Just kind of waiting and seeing about things and letting teams get their boards together, and then just hoping for an opportunity, man. To show what I could do, and be a great in the league, man. So.
Oh, absolutely, man. You went to the Niners local pro day, so they are definitely looking for some D tackle positions, man. Are you interested in that opening, man?
Man, like I said, man, any opportunity that comes my way, man, I'm looking to crush it. So, me being from Fresno, being, playing right up the road, 2 hours would be, man, it would be a blessing, bro. But, like I said, any team that wants me, any opportunity that comes my way, I'm ready for it. So
what do you take from that experience at the local pro day, man?
I would say, man, it was a great day for sure. Got some good work in front of Coach Scruggs, Coach Cam, the main D line coach. He wasn't able to make it, but just going out there and really seeing how how they operate as a team, and just getting the coaching from Coach Scruggs, and just going out there and doing the drills and killing it, man. I feel like I did really well in front of them. So like I said, it's kind of a waiting game now. So I feel like the day went overall pretty well, though.
Well, realistically, I hope some way they sneak you into that roster, man, because I think you would be a great fit, and plus we can hang around.
Yeah, most definitely, man, for sure.
Oh yeah, dude. So what were the offers like coming out of high school? Because you were a standout, man.
Yeah, so going into my junior year, I was heavily recruited, 4 stars and all that stuff. But I had ran into a season-ending injury going into my junior year, so I missed most of the year, and kind of all the recruiting noise kind of quieted it down going into my senior year, and yeah, like I ended the year with Arizona, Colorado, Cal, and Arizona State, and I had interest and stuff from UCLA and BYU as well. They were looking to throw me an offer, but I had already committed to Cal after that. So I had quite a few offers, but not as many as I would have liked without the injury. But it is what it is, God's plan. So I'm just glad things ended up well, and I was able to have a great few years at Cal.
Absolutely, man. You can't go wrong. The competition showcase what you're capable of doing. So it's like, you couldn't go wrong with California.
Most definitely, yep.
Yeah. So when did you feel the game got slower when you went to college, man?
I really feel like that light switch. I would say my junior year, man. Sophomore year, I was still, playing with a club in my hand, was still battling the injury bug a little bit, and I feel like junior year, I was, felt pretty healthy. Felt like I was in the best shape that I've ever been in my life, and I just feel like the experience of getting tossed in the fire sophomore year, playing a lot of snaps without really knowing what I'm doing, really helped me hone in and understand what the game really is. There's a game within the game in the trenches, man. There's so much little stuff that happens, right now, and you just have to be really ready for it. You have to play without thinking. So once I figured that out, man, it was just lights out from there. I was able to make the plays that I was supposed to make, and show my athletic ability and show what I got recruited for. So I would really say junior year, really the game kind of just slowed down and allowed me to be the player that I wanted to be.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. So I think my friend said max bench, not like the reps, I guess. So what's like your max bench press?
Oh, I would say my max, I've gotten up to 335. 335,
Damn,
the most I've ever did in college. Yeah.
that's pretty strong. I mean, for a big D tackle. So why should NFL teams draft you, man?
Man, I feel like my skill set on the field, man. I'm versatile, man. I'm a bigger guy, but I feel like I have great feet for my size. I'm agile, I'm athletic. I could play anywhere from 0 to 3 tech. Um, and yeah, man, I just like to have that dog mentality when it's on the field. Me and the guy in front of me, man. I'm not gonna let him outman me, man. I'm not gonna let him outmuscle me. I'm not gonna let him push me back. So I really just, like to establish dominance when I'm out there. So, picking me up, you get a dominant, athletic, agile, big defensive lineman, and they don't make these out of a factory, man. So I feel like it's hard to come by, and here I am. So I'm waiting for the opportunity.
I'm sold, man. I mean, I'm pretty sure you'll play the position right. You'll do the dirty work. You'll get the job done. So let's look at the history of your school, man. There's plenty of guys who come out of Central and actually had a very successful NFL career so far. You look at Jalen Johnson, who just came out of Central High, and you look at the history of it. You won a championship with Central High also.
Yeah, man, Jalen Johnson, he's homegrown kid. I actually watched, played on the same Pop Warner team as him because he's older than me, of course, but their games will always be after our game. So I would sit and watch him when he played, and man, he's always been, a dominant guy. He always had that blue chip work ethic, like he talked about. Being from Fresno, everyone overlooks you. So he's always, battled that. And even when he was at Utah, he's, always thought he's been an overlooked player. So for him to have the career he's having in the league, it's not a surprise to those that have been seeing him work, man, all these years. So, man, shout out to him for sure.
Yeah, and you got a championship out of it at the end of the day. So they had a good program, and plus a few of my friends or families that attended there. So must be a really good history to go there, man. I wouldn't know what it's like to win.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 2019, state champions was, man. If you would have asked us in the beginning of the season, we would have, we probably wouldn't have said, that wouldn't have been possible. But that was the goal since day one. Coach Kyle Biggs and his staff, man, they're football masterminds. Kyle Biggs, he lives, sleeps, and eats football, man. He has a football mind. And the important thing I feel like a lot of people miss out is he knows his players. He builds a great relationship with all of his players, man. And even to this day, I talk to Coach Biggs, I can ask him for anything. So, I just felt like we were just a band of brothers, and we came together and really made it happen.
Yeah, it's a pretty remarkable school. I mean, last year Worthy was like the first round pick too, so that's kind of cool. I mean, then you got a guy like Jeremiah Hunter who went to the same school with you and then went to California for a short minute and then went to Washington, right?
Yeah, yeah. So, man, X and J Hunt, man, Xavier Worthy playing with those guys, man, you can see the work ethic that they had. They always were the first guys in the weight room, the last guys out. They were always trying to make sure that, people were, the stragglers, that nobody was left behind. And man, playing with those guys was just an experience, man. They were great guys on and off the field, and they're still, X is doing his thing right now, and I believe Jay Hunt's going to get his shot, and he's going to do really well. So it was an honor to play with those guys, for real.
Oh yeah, I feel like he's kind of like the underrated receiver. Also, besides you guys are two diamond in the roughs, in my opinion. Like, I think you guys will be taken seriously. So what's your favorite thing about playing at Cal Berkeley, man?
Man, playing for Cal, man, it was definitely we had a lot of ups and downs as a program, man, but I felt like the family aspect of, just getting to know everyone on the team, and really, just we had a real brotherhood on that team. Everyone was bought into each other. Everyone talked to each other. We didn't have a divided team at all, and it really just felt good to, see all of our hard work, see everything that we went through together as a team, pay off when we did win some of those big games that we won. And man, it was definitely a great experience. The coaches up there, the whole staff, everyone just felt like family. Even from the recruiting process, to when you first step on campus, how sometimes you could, they sell you a story and it's way different. At Cal, it wasn't like that at all. So, man, just shout out to them for making it just a easy experience.
Oh yeah, shout out to Cal for giving you an opportunity. So what was your best overall game at Cal University and why?
That's a hard one. The best overall game. I've always played against UCLA really well because I really wanted to go to UCLA, and they were kind of dragging their feet on the offer, and Cal ended up offering me first. But anytime I played them, I just kind of had this fire in my stomach, man. Fire in me. So 2022, my first year playing, really, I played against them really well. I had 7 tackles, I think. I had a sack and a couple TFLs, and then the next year I had I think 6.5 tackles and a half sack. And anytime I play UCLA, it just really gets me fired up, man. I love the competition that they bring. They've always had a good offensive line, some big time names and stuff. So playing against them really just fires me up, man.
Oh, dude, I guess against UCLA, that's pretty much how I need to look at that film. I got to look more into that, man. Like that UCLA game, anytime you play against a team like UCLA, that's got to take some notes right there for sure.
For sure, definitely.
Okay, so who was your toughest offensive lineman that you faced, or a rival offensive player that would talk the most trash to you guys?
I would say the toughest O line that we faced, definitely had to be the years when we play, in the Pac-12 playing against Oregon. They had man, a lot of those guys are going to the league, and man, they had like just a wall, man. Like they moved in unison. A lot of O lines talk and communicate, but they did everything silently, so you couldn't really key in on what they were doing. And man, they had some pretty talented guys every year that we played them. So going against them was definitely a challenge for sure. And I would say the team that talks the most trash definitely has to be Oregon State. Each year we played them, they got a lot of guys that draw off and just, talk. And, that's part of the game, though. That's part of the game. So a lot of those Oregon State guys definitely talk a lot of trash, but that's what makes the game fun. And that, builds the competition and makes you want to prove yourself even more. So.
Oh yeah, I mean it's part of the game. It happens here and there. But are you more of a trash talker, or you let your play do the talking?
Yeah, I trash talk a lot, but it depends. This past year, I really didn't trash talk too much. But the years prior, man, I was drawing at guys all the time. You couldn't get me to shut up sometimes. Especially if I was playing well, man, you couldn't get me to shut up. But this past year, I felt like it was more of a business year, man. Everything was a little bit more serious. The stakes were more higher. So, I just kind of, had the next play mentality. I wasn't worried about what this guy's saying, I'm worried about what I got to do. So, yeah.
Okay, I mean that's what it comes down to, man. You got to have confidence, man. If you don't, then something's wrong with you. You know what I mean? But if you had to choose one quarterback to sack, which I'm pretty sure you're gonna have when it's all said and done, if you had to choose one.
Let me see. If I had to choose one quarterback to sack in the league, I would definitely. Everyone's going to say Lamar. I'm not going to say Lamar. I would definitely have to say. I would have to say Patrick Mahomes. Definitely Patrick Mahomes. I feel like sacking him would just it would feel the best. Him or Josh Allen. The bigger frame quarterbacks. The guys that are known for making things happen all the time. So I would say definitely Pat Mahomes or Josh Allen.
Yeah, I like that question, man. One of the best at the position, man. And why not just have a sack in the biggest stage too? So that would be something to put into. But do you have a sack celebration?
I wouldn't say I have a signature celebration. It kind of depends on it in the moment. Sometimes I make a big play, I'll get up, tap my helmet, let out a couple screams. But really, this past year, if I made a big play or anything, sacking anything like that, I would just get up and yell. Just let some of that excitement out. Get back to it. Get back on the line next play. So you can sometimes waste a lot of energy celebrating. A lot of people don't know that.
Oh yeah, man. But anytime I see the number 91, bro, like I would just think of a guy like Ray McDonald who played at a very high level too. But why did you choose number 91?
I feel like I chose 91. Man, I had 99 most of my life. Once I switched to these tackle, and when I got to Cal, 99 wasn't available, so I kind of was stuck in between a few different numbers. But I feel like 91. I've never wore that before in my life. I've never had that number, and I just wanted to start something new, start something fresh. So, going into my freshman year, I picked that number, and I kind of never looked back on it.
Well, I mean, it comes with it, but 99, it should be available if San Francisco takes you, man. They got an opening for 99 for you, man. But
man, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But as far as that, what's your football nickname, man?
My football nickname, my dad used to call me Tank. My dad used to call me Tank because I, running the ball, man. It looked like a tank was running out there, running over all the kids and stuff. But, a lot of the guys on the team, they'll either call me Rick, Slick Rick, Big Rick, depending on the day. But yeah, just the abbreviation of my name most of the time.
I can see why it kind of fits with the name, but man, imagine just having two Slick Ricks on the football field.
That's what I'm saying, man. You know, my guy Parasol, man.
Yeah. You on the defensive side of the ball and the other guy on the offense. That'd be like the two Slick Ricks.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, in all seriously, so how do you prepare for your upcoming games and all that stuff?
Um, really, preparation for me just looks like man, I love chilling out, man. You know, relaxing, watching some film before the game, and really just getting to know the opponent. So one thing I like to do in the hotel the night before the game, I just lay down before I go to bed, and I turn on 30 minutes of film, 30 minutes of the matchup. I'm the guy I'm going against, and really just study, man. You know, visualize myself making those moves, visualize myself in those situations, and go to sleep with football on my mind. So I can wake up ready. So that's one thing I like to do: just go to sleep with football on my mind, be relaxed, and be calm and collected, man. So in the morning, wake up ready to go.
Oh yeah. Okay, so how do you tune out the crowd noise? Just for
Um, I feel like the crowd noise for me, as a defensive lineman, you really don't hear the crowd that much because your job doesn't involve you really to listen to anything. You can listen to linebackers here and there, but tuning out the crowd noise just kind of comes natural as a player. You kind of hold on, my bad. Stop. You kind of just do it naturally. Once you put on that helmet, you put on those shoulder pads, man, it's time to lock in. So that's one thing I do naturally, man. Once I put the helmet on, I'm just in the zone. So
yeah, you got to either just play your best and then get a little silence from there. But we all got backup plans, which I'm pretty sure football career is going to be your main goal, of course. But what's your backup plan would you major in college?
I actually majored in sports and media studies in college. I really like writing. I did some sports journalism in high school. Did a little bit of media stuff here and there, but one thing I did a lot, took advantage of at Cal, the internships and stuff like that. So I did some commercial real estate internships over the years, and I think that's something I'll probably get into after I'm done playing football. So
okay.
Hold on,
so outside of football, who are you as a person as far as hobbies? What do you enjoy in sports or music or food or artists in general?
Outside of football, man, I'm really big on chilling, man. I like to go fishing a lot with the family, when I can, with the guys. We always used to take weekly fishing trips over the summer. And really, I'm really big on chilling out, playing the game, man. So I just like to relax outside of football. I'm a real big chill guy. I play basketball during the off season here and there sparingly, because accidents do happen and stuff like that. But man, other than that, man, just real laid back.
I'm pretty sure you are, man. Okay, so if you had to choose between a celebrity dead or alive, who would you have a meal with?
Who would I have a meal with, man? I would definitely have to say LeBron. I would definitely say LeBron. He's been in the game since he was 18, playing for all these years. I just want to see and pick his brain about his mental. How do you prepare yourself to do the same thing over and over and over again and be the best at what you do for this long. So really just getting to know how he approaches things and just how he looks at everyday life, I feel like will give me some, very, very good insights.
Oh, absolutely, man. LeBron James has played for long. He's probably been the most wise player at times. I mean, he would give you a knowledge or two how to sustain all that stuff. So, okay, so let's get on to these rapid fire questions. Let's say you're in the middle of nowhere. You had to choose between Burger King or McDonald's. What would you choose?
Definitely McDonald's. I very much wasn't a Burger King fan growing up. I would go there sparingly, but we didn't really have one in where I grew up at. We didn't really have one too close. So when I did go, I kind of would just get like the chicken fries or something. But I never really got into Burger King like that. So definitely McDonald's.
Oh, okay. I mean, you can't go wrong with the breakfasts are pretty good. The nuggets and all the other stuff are pretty good. As far as game console, what is it? Xbox or PlayStation?
Definitely PlayStation. You know, I've had a PlayStation all my life, so definitely PlayStation.
Call of Duty or Madden?
Mm, in the recent years, I would go Call of Duty. The last 2 to 3 years, but before that, definitely Madden.
Oh yeah, Madden. You couldn't go wrong with it. But the new NCAA game is pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's been my favorite for sure.
Yeah. So does the moment feel surreal or business as usual, man? Just for all those years, like, hey, I finally get to play in the NFL for once.
Um, I mean, it kind of really hasn't hit me. You know, we do a lot of stuff as we get older. You know, you do a lot of things. You get caught up in the grind of working out every day and just working towards the goal. So I really haven't really looked back and seen how far I came. You know, I'm kind of still in that mindset of just keeping my head down and just taking those steps forward to where I need to be. And when the time comes to look back, I feel like I definitely will, but I feel like I haven't did that. So
it just has to feel like a big moment at this point, but it's business as usual, but it's surreal as just being struck because you get to finally live out the dream. So, okay. So, like as far as a go-to place, Target or Walmart, if you had to choose.
Walmart for sure. Walmart for
Prices,
sure.
you can't go wrong.
Man, I feel like it's more of a chill store. You know, that's the kind of guy I am. Target is a little bit too uptight for me.
Yeah, it could be a little pricey, but it's not bad either. But if you had to choose a soda, Coke or Pepsi, which one would it be?
Man, I never really grew up drinking Coke or Pepsi. I would say Pepsi. Pepsi.
Okay. See, hey, we're on the same page right there, but I've been off of that for a while, so I ain't trying to get back to it.
Yeah, I feel
But
that.
yeah. But as far as all that, like how do you balance your dieting from how they do in California? Like how do you stay in your playing shape?
Man, really for me, I deal with a lot of going to college and stuff. My weight has fluctuated a lot, but really just staying committed, man. You know, once you get into a habit of doing things, it becomes easier. So for me right now during training, I've been pretty strict about my diet and being in shape because I got to be ready for when the opportunity comes. But when I have a little bit of time off, I like to I go home, visit mom. She cooks and gain a little bit away from that, or just go eat some food with my friends and stuff like that. But it's really important to have balance. So I pretty much like 6 days a week. I'm on top of my diet. Eating the best thing I can for myself, and then allow myself a day just to reset, eat a little bit of the stuff that isn't too good for you. So that way I don't feel like I'm missing out all the time.
Okay. But as far as a cheat meal, what's something that you gotta have, even though you might have to break it a little bit?
I would definitely have to say chicken teriyaki, man. I love chicken teriyaki. You been to Teriyaki Don?
All
Yeah,
that stuff?
yeah. Their fried chicken teriyaki is pretty good. So I go there when I feel like I want something heavy, and chicken and rice and a lot of that sauce, man. It's the best.
Oh yeah. As far as like a chicken place, Popeyes or KFC?
Popeyes for sure. Popeyes for sure.
It's the shiznit, man.
Man, yo.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go on common sense stuff. It's football. We all have moments, but how do you deal with a quitter during the game? Like it's in the middle of something. Like how do you deal with that circumstances?
Man, when people quit, they have a lot going on in their mind. It's definitely more mental than it is a physical thing. So, you probably it depends. Some people don't want to be don't want to be talked to. Some people, will take the advice well. But one thing I will always say to people if they feel like quitting, man, is just you got to think about how you're gonna feel tomorrow if you give up right now. A lot of people give up in the moment and they think that everything's over. But once the dust settles and once things settle down, you're gonna realize that you probably could have gave more, did more in that moment. You feel me? You could have had a different mindset. So it's really just about knowing your teammates, knowing people and what they receive, and yeah, that's depending on the person, just kind of talk to them and see where their heads at, and just try to get them to, believe in themselves. A lot of the time, quitting comes from not believing in yourself and your training. So, just get them to believe in what we did, and have faith in what we do. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It happens, it all goes on. We just have to go with it, next man up, or just let it be. But let's say you guys are down by multiple touchdowns. What would be the pep talk to get this team to come from behind to win this ball game?
Man, just trust in what we do, man. We in college, you do a lot of the same stuff every day, and you do a lot of the same things, and it could get like, it can get mentally boring for a lot of people, but for, as far as, being down, being in a situation that you don't want to be in, especially as a team, you just got to get everyone to be on the same page and believe at that point. There's a lot of power in believing. The first thing, the first step to doing everything is, believing that you could do it. So, changing your mindset to, oh, we can't win, we can't do this, to we are going to win, we are going to do this, that's just the first step. And having confidence just, builds your play, builds everything. That's the key to being a great player, is being confident that I'm going to win my matchup. So, you get guys that are confident, you get guys that know they have the tools to win. They just have to trust in their training. Man, you could come back from anything. So that would be one thing I would say for sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So how do you deal with a situation where a teammate's not on the same page, they're going through an altercation in the sidelines? How do you separate the situation, or how do you be a peacemaker?
You just have to, I feel like you would separate them and kind of sit them down and get to know what their problem is stemming from, and, what you could do to fix that. And, just if they need some time alone, they need some time alone. But, they just have to know that what they're doing isn't good for the team. So just getting them to understand that, and finding out what the root problem is for them, so they could go out there and play, and not, have those situations or those frustrations towards anyone. So that would be one thing I would do for sure.
Oh, yeah. So what was it like just to play on a talented defensive team in California? I mean, you had Teddy Buchanan, who I think should be a top linebacker down there. Then you got Noah Williams, who to me is underrated. Then you got Craig Woodson, who's pretty good. And then what's his name? Xavier Carlton's another good one.
Yeah.
Like, what was it like playing on that defense?
Oh, man, just a lot of those guys, man, I feel like we all bought into the same mindset. We really wanted to be, a defense that was known. We wanted people to fear us, so going into that year, we just all, we had meetings as a defense, and we all just came to the conclusion that when we came out there and, when we lined it up, that people had to feel us. People had to really understand that they're going to have to work for what they're getting. They're not going to have any easy anything. So, for us the whole year, our message was just, go out there and do what we do as a defensive line, defensive front, and create havoc. So playing along with X, playing with Teddy, right behind me and stuff, it was just lights out. It was some of the funnest, one of the funnest seasons I've ever had at Cal this year, for sure.
Absolutely. Like, it's just a pretty talented, like, defense, even though it's not quite talked about. But, man, like, you got a good linebacker who can definitely be a top linebacker down the road. Like, he can be like a Fred Warner.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Yeah, and then you got Noah Williams, who just has a knack for the ball. He's just in good position. Then you got Craig Woodson, who's actually Barry, like, he can be really good at the next level. And then Xavier Carlton, despite how his speed is, he can play.
Yeah, for sure. Most definitely.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have some dogs out there, I'm gonna lie. But I guess we can see if you know the fight song for Cal Bears. I mean, do you know about their song or something?
Dang, do I know the fight song? So we never did. We had the fight song in our locker room. It was like on this like little plaque thing, but nobody really paid attention to it. So Yeah, I do not know our fight song, but we have a bear territory chant that I know pretty well. So that's one thing we always did after every win. You know, we had the whole thing. I'm pretty sure you guys seen Pat McAfee, you know, firing up the crowd on College game day, saying the story, the chant, you know, to everyone. So yeah, that's one thing. That's one thing I know very well, but not the fight song.
Oh yeah, for sure. Has any other NFL players reached out to you and gave you some advice for the next level?
Yeah, definitely a lot of local guys, man. You know, you got I'm working out at AP with Jalen Cropper, Kendall Milton, Aaron Mosby, Lavelle Bailey, talked to Jalen McMillan. A lot of those guys, man, you know, some of those guys are on practice squads right now, and some of those guys are playing right now on active rosters this past year. So just getting all the different insights from them about how, you know, the league is really ran as a professional business. And, you know, once you get your shot, you can't waste it. So the biggest takeaway I would get from them is just being ready, man. You know, you have to be ready for any opportunity that comes your way. And you can't have any excuse to where you feel like you could have did this, you could have did that. You have to be 100% ready for anything that comes your way. So, you know, I'm glad that, you know, I have them as a resource, and, you know, they've been great with giving me information.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. It takes knowledge to learn, and it gets you to adjust to the next level. So, I guess for the fight song, I guess it's more like you just need to growl like a bear. I guess I don't know. That's up to you, man. Like if that's what because you played for Bears in high school, and then you played for the Bears at the college level.
I don't have too good of a bear growl, but I can give you a little or something like that. You feel me?
There you go, man. You're scary, man. Like as it is, Slick Rick looks scary on the football field, man. You played for the Bears in high school. You played for the Bears in college. Can that be kind of crazy if you play for the Bears at the NFL level too?
Oh, man, you know that would be, you know, definitely a coincidence, but, you know, we'll see if that happens, man.
No, but triple. You go from high school as the Bears, you go from college as the Bears, and potentially the Bears also. It's like, oh my dude.
Same mascot.
It'd be kind of funny, right? A little funny story out of it, right?
Definitely, for sure.
All right, man. So what's up? What's like your next upcoming training or other stuff you got planned before the draft?
Really just right now, just getting in shape, you know, staying conditioned and trying to get stronger, you know, keep working on getting faster, refining my technique, and yeah, just staying active, man, and staying ready. So, you know, when the opportunity comes for a mini camp and all that stuff, that, you know, that I'm ready, I'm in shape, and, you know, whoever's going to get me is going to get a great guy. So yeah, just staying ready and staying on top of my game right now.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. So what motivates you to be better?
I said myself, man, you know, I hold myself to pretty high standard in everything I do. You know, I want to be one of the best, and, you know, I don't do anything just to do it. You know, I want to be the best at things that I do in life. So, you know, if I'm working on a stunt step or things like that, if we're working on that at practice, I want to be the best at that. So really just finding the little things to work on and being the best on anything I could do. So.
Oh yeah, dude. So who do you give thanks for those who made you who you are today, man?
Definitely my family, man. My mom, my dad, my brother, and my sister. They've been super supportive along the way. You know, they've taken care of me in many different ways, and yeah, man, I thank them for everything. I can't thank them enough for the things that they do. So to this day, they motivate me to do what I do, and you know, I do it for them.
Oh yeah, shout out to them. I mean, they raised a young fine man. So the future is bright, man. But one last question. Let's say you have a chance to meet with John Lynch or Jed York somehow. What would you say to them to convince you to draft you? Reception issues. What happened? Guess he's got reception issues or something. Yeah, I think he'll be back. We're just gonna answer a couple more questions. If not, we'll probably just call it as it is. Maybe he was in the middle of a phone call. But it was a good interview. Went pretty long. But let me see if something kind of happened that maybe we can end it from here. But okay, he's back.
My bad.
Okay. Yeah, it's all good, man. So let's just say, because you were on Local Pro Day, but let's say you have another chance to talk to John Lynch or Kyle or just Jed York in general. What would you say to them to say, hey, man, you should draft me?
Man, one thing I really say stands out about me is I love to learn, man. I love to get better at things that I do, and like I said, my mindset towards things, I want to be the best in what I do. So I feel like with me having a ready to learn mindset and really just my hard working attitude, man, I feel like it would be a no brainer with the skill set that I feel like I bring to the table, and with them being able to I'm able to, you can teach me anything and I'll try to learn it. I'll go back and make sure that I have the knowledge to learn what you're teaching me. So one thing that I would say to them is just, man, you're going to get a guy who's a student of the game and who's just really a down to earth hard worker, that wants to be good at, be good for a long time in the NFL. So that's one thing I would definitely say to them.
Well, I hope they make that decision, because I mean if it was me, I would say, man, I'll take you in a heartbeat, man. But
most definitely.
Yeah. But definitely appreciate your time, bro. I know that the process is going to be worth it, man. All those years in college, but from all those years in college, what do you need to improve on going into the NFL?
I would definitely say my strength level overall, man. You got guys, these are, grown men that have been doing this for a long time. Some of them been, in the league playing a line for 5 to 6 years plus. So, they really know the speed of the game. They know, the amount of strength that it takes. And for me, right now, I feel like that's something I definitely need to work on. So it's something I've been hitting hard, definitely with my trainers every day. Making sure I'm taking steps towards, building muscle and getting stronger. So that way I could, be ready to go when the time comes.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. For those people who want to find your social media platform, man, tell me where they can find your platform.
Yeah, Instagram. My Instagram is slickrick91 with 2 K's on the slick, and then my Twitter account is Ricky_Correia12.
Oh yeah, dude. So let's say if you end up in San Francisco, man, we got to meet up at one of these days, man.
For sure, most definitely, man. Just hit me up and let me know.
Oh yeah, we got contact on Instagram. We'll hit up sometime down the road. But yeah, dude, definitely appreciate your time. And for everybody else, man, go check out California University defensive tackle Ricky Correia, man. This man is a run stopper. He could do more, man. This guy's versatile. This guy fits on any defense, man. So you guys got to take this guy, man. If not, he's gonna make you guys pay.
Most definitely, man. I appreciate you for having me on, man. It's been a great interview.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. And for everybody else, thank you guys for tuning in.